This is a story about a blonde, a good-looking blonde, a young midshipman, we'll call him Charlie, who would very much like to know the blonde better, much better. And another young man, let's call him Jack, who also prefers this particular blonde. Whom does the blonde prefer? Well, the very first date with each young man tells the story. Stick around. You'll see for yourself. When Charlie gets an invitation to dinner from an officer and his wife, he figures this is just the chance he's been waiting for to impress that blonde. No competition around, and he can be the life of the party. So, he gives her a break. A date with Charlie. What else? Charlie, aren't you going to acknowledge the invitation? Well, guess not. Anyway, that's how Charlie's first date began. Let's see what happened with Jack. A week or so later, Jack receives an invitation to dinner from the same officer, including a date also. Whom does Jack call? Sure he did. And did he get the date? What do you think? Jack. Jack, come out of it, boy. That's better. He's writing to the hostess, accepting the invitation. This should be done within a day or so for all invitations. In the case of an RSVP written on the invitation, it is mandatory. Of course, a telephone call would be acceptable, a brief note on your calling card, or in person. The point is to answer the invitation as quickly as possible, usually in the same manner the invitation is extended. So, Jack is off to a good start. Now let's see how old Charlie carries off his big date. Nice going, Charlie. You beat 'em all sitting down. New record, I bet, even for you. Ah, look at that. What a conversationalist. This boy can really hold people's attention. If talking can do it, he's sure got a head start in winning the young lady's affections. They do look good. Attaboy, get a good supply. They might not last. Besides, every hostess likes to see somebody really enjoy her food. Finger licking good. This boy has a nice homey touch, doesn't he? Hey, Charlie, your hostess, the host, aren't you going to talk to them at all? That's better. Get that conversation going again. The finer points of football? There you are. The girls will enjoy that subject, particularly when you tell them your theory about Army winning the next game. Charlie seems to be a real hit, doesn't he? Well, a polite host and hostess, or even a date for that matter, always appear to enjoy themselves. Let's stop right here. Before we go on to dinner, let's see how things went with Jack. Gives the hostess a chance to shake hands with the young lady first. Waits for hostess to offer her hand to him. Waits for ladies and more senior officer to be seated. Very good. Very good. Now, that's more like it. One at a time. And if you want to compliment your hostess on the good hors d'oeuvre, do so. That'll go over far better than just gobbling them all up. Aha, there's the correct way to clean the fingers. Perhaps not as tasty, but Still, the only way to do it. Good manners, a vital facet of a gentleman's character. Such a man is considerate. For example, introduces subjects of conversation that will be interesting to all the people present. He's reasonable, and he's thoughtful. Suppose his companion doesn't know the company. He would recognize a possible feeling of shyness and take care to draw her into the conversation. Jack? Well, he may not be the center of attention that Charlie was, but he certainly does seem to be more considerate, more reasonable, and more thoughtful. And you know what? The party seems to be a bit more fun for everybody. Okay, let's go back to Charlie. See just how things went at dinner. Nice going, Charlie. You beat him sitting down again. It must take a lot of practice to be that fast. That's very cute. And it'll keep your tie clean, too, in case you have a leaky spoon. Good point, Charlie. That'll get their attention. Now, who said fencing was a lost art? Bread. Be sure to get just the one you want, Charlie. Lots of butter. Sure, you can get it easier with a dinner knife than with that little old butter knife. Who needs it? And why spoil a good conversation by stopping to chew and swallow? Back to that football game, huh? Well, the girls wouldn't be interested anyway, so why bore them? Say, doesn't old Charlie look nice and comfortable? Now that's a bit of luck. Solid cherry chair legs to rest the feet on. Hardly shows the scratches at all. Oh, it could happen to anybody, Charlie. Charlie, don't hit the panic button. Let her take care of it, Charles. Charlie, the other people would like to go back to their eating. Knock it off. Charlie, stop it! Well, Charlie finally got over his little accident. And before long, he was the center of attention again. The self-appointed center, I suppose I should say. Nothing like a good after-dinner cigarette, is there? Guess the hostess forgot to put an ashtray on the table. Or, maybe she thought nobody would smoke? Oh, no harm done anyway. Why, Charlie. Now, where's he going? You suppose he's leaving so soon? Well, I guess so. But, why not? Dinner is over. And if he leaves early, it's a chance to be alone with the young lady. Okay, that's how dinner went with Charlie. Now let's see how it goes with Jack. He helps the hostess with her chair, while Lieutenant Rand assists the young lady. At a larger seating, you would assist the lady on your right. The napkin in your lap, unless under the age of 10. Who begins eating first? The hostess, of course. And when you eat soup, you dip the spoon in the bowl away from you. Now, should clear soup be served in a cup or bowl with handles, it is permissible to raise the cup and drink the soup. By the way, note where the soup spoon is placed when not in use. On the plate, not left in the bowl. If you can't easily reach something on the table without interfering with a fellow diner, ask for it. And be sure to pass it on. Your friends are as hungry as you are. Bread and rolls are placed on the bread and butter plate. And butter is taken with the butter service knife, not your dinner knife or your own individual bread and butter knife. Bread and rolls are broken in half and then into smaller pieces. You butter each piece of bread before eating. Say, this Jack is really on the ball, isn't he? Looks as though they're all having fun. Maybe Jack's not the center of attention every minute, but he's a good listener, and he remembers to include all the people in his comments. Obviously, the subject is one that interests all four people, without being too controversial. Jack looks relaxed, too, don't you think? As he should be, without slouching down on the table with his elbows, of course. And as the dinner moves on, he's right in there pitching with the manners. The serving fork and spoon are used just like other forks and spoons. Fork in left hand, spoon in right. Use the spoon to transfer the meat or vegetable to your plate, the fork to hold it in place. Now, your own silver is always positioned by your plate in the order of use, and you begin at the outside and work in toward the plate as the various courses arrive. This is true of an informal dinner such as this, or the most formal dinner party where many courses may be served. You still begin at the outside and work in toward the plate. Another good rule is to observe which piece of silver your hostess uses and follow suit. One more point regarding the formal dinner. A finger bowl will be served following the dinner. Don't drink it. Simply dip your fingers in it. Then dry them with your napkin. I'm sure our friend would have no problems, because good manners are the same no matter what the occasion. Okay, check the way the knife is held. Handle in palm, index finger along the back of the blade. When not in use, it's placed across the upper half of the plate, or on the right side, blade facing in, never on the table. The fork is used tines down when cutting, then transferred to the right hand, tines up, for all other purposes. When not being used, it rests on the plate just below the knife or at the right side of the plate. Say, the young lady must be impressed by this display of good manners, especially after Charlie. Uh-oh. Don't tell me he's going to spoil the whole thing. No, don't believe he is. A simple apology, and any assistance you can give is all that's required or expected. Here's an excellent example of two other basic ingredients of being a gentleman, or lady for that matter. From the hostess, kindness, an understanding that accidents will happen, an earnest desire to set a guest at ease. From Jack, a sense of humor, the ability to be generous with others, and with himself if he makes the mistake. When it is time to leave the table, the hostess indicates saying, of course, each gentleman assists the lady to his right as when being seated. Time to go home? No, not quite, no matter how interesting your date may be. It is polite and enjoyable to spend a few minutes chatting with your host and hostess. A couple of points here. Check the napkins. Not folded up or crushed into a ball, just laid down naturally by the plate. The other point, no evidence of smoking, ashtrays or cigarettes. This is not an oversight. The hostess prefers that you don't smoke at the table. So, take the hint. Don't. If she wants you to smoke, there'll be ashtrays and cigarettes, probably in the living room. So that's how dinner with Jack and the blonde young lady progressed. And you've seen Charlie and the young lady in the same situation. Well, who got the girl? Charlie? Let's see.
How about going to the movies with me tomorrow night?
I'm sorry, Charlie, I'm busy.
Okay, next Saturday night.
Oh, I already have a date then, too.
Well, maybe some other time then, okay?
Sure, maybe some other time. Good night.
Jack? Well, he wrote his thank you note, the proper thing to do, And also because it was a special night for him. Why did Jack get the girl? Oh, you know.
Blondes prefer gentlemen, and so does everybody else.